everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today is the worst, no, today is the fails of 2020. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do this at all, and I asked a whole bunch of you guys, like, if you wanted me to do a fails video. So really what this is not it's a fails video, but it's not like all of these products are bad products. They're just products that didn't work for me. So you might love all of these products and be like, Jennifer, what's wrong with you? You have no taste whatsoever. And that's okay. They just don't work for me, or I had high expectations and they didn't meet those expectations. Let's go with that. So I wrote down a bunch of different things. I actually been very lucky this year in regards to like picking up things that have worked. For the most part, I haven't had too many things that I really didn't like. The things that I really didn't like, I gave away or I threw away. Did I return anything this year? No, I don't. I just generally don't return things, but makeup and stuff. But I did give a bunch of stuff away that I just don't use or don't like. So I can't show you the products because a lot of times I don't have them. But I can show you pictures and I can talk about them. So, but there's some things I still have. So my hair is being recalcitrant today. I don't know what it's doing. So just driving me batty. Okay. So the first products we're going to talk about are complexion face products. I am still trying out the Gucci primer and the Surratt primer. The Surratt primer didn't really work for me the first time I used it, but the second time I used it, it was pretty good. The Gucci primer is too new for me to really know. It may be okay. It may be all right. I tried the Tatcha primer. It did not like that. The Tatcha cleanser I like, but the primer, not my thing. So there's none there that I would say are absolute like fails. The first is the Tom Ford Glow Tinted Moisturizer. I really didn't like this moisturizer, this tinted moisturizer. I just don't think it was good. I have it in 1.4 bone. I think the next one was like 1.7. It was shades were different for the tinted moisturizer as well. So like I'm usually a 1.5 cream or a 2.0 depending on time of year and like different mixtures. Like sometimes I can do the 2.0, but usually I'm a 1.5. But then this had 1.4 and then like 1.7 or something. I don't really remember. But anyway, it didn't give a glow. It didn't really do much. I didn't like it. It wasn't a great tinted moisturizer, and it was expensive because it was Tom Ford. So not only did it not meet my expectations, but I didn't even think it was good. So yeah, I didn't like the Tom Ford tinted moisturizer. So that was definitely a fail. Next up is a relatively new product, and it's interesting because I know a lot of people really like it, but I don't. It's the Huda Beauty, what is it called? Skin Finish Stick. Now, I will say the shade I have is too light. That's part of the problem. That's the shade. So the shade is too light. That's part of the issue. But to be honest with you, it just doesn't look good on my skin. I don't know. Like, I feel like it kind of like disappears on me. I don't know. I didn't really like it at all. Sorry. Yeah, I just don't like it. If it wasn't for the fact that I have, and I'm not even joking now, like 100 foundations, I would get another shade in this and try it. But I just don't think it's for me. I just think there are other foundations that just work better for me. And even if this was a different shade, I don't think I would like it. I mean, for me now, I've gotten to a point where if I try something once and it doesn't work, generally if I try it again, it doesn't get any better. Sometimes it happens, but rarely, like with a foundation product. Primers and stuff, things like that have to be with something else, yes. But foundations, generally, if it doesn't work the first time, it's not gonna work the second time or the third time. So yeah, this is just, it's a fail for me. Third is the most recent foundation I bought, which is the Gucci foundation. I really don't like it. I don't know what to say. If you saw my Christmas Day video, I don't like it. Yeah, it's weird. It's not like I can even say, well, it's too dry or it doesn't cover anything and it's too dry and I don't like it and I just don't like it. And here's the thing, guys, like I have so many foundations that work extraordinarily well that I just don't want to put up with one that's even a little bit fussy, to be honest with you. Like if I had a very limited collection and I had like 2 foundations to work with and I had to find a way to work with it, then I guess I would. But I don't need to and I don't want to, so I'm not going to. I don't like it. All right, those are my complexion products. Okay, so next let's move to brows. As you know, if you have watched my channel, I absolutely love the Gucci brow pencil. Favorite thing of all time. I need to get a new one because it's gotten way tiny. So yeah, I love it. The thing that I guess I would say is a fail is, and I hate to call it this, but it is, for me anyway, it's the Patrick Ta Brow Wax. And the reason it's a fail is because I just don't use it. Like I just don't. Now, is it a bad product? No. I think it does what it's supposed to do. It's a brow wax. You put your little spoolie in it and you wet it with some spray and it's wax and you know, but I don't use it. I never reach for it ever. So it just doesn't have a place in my day to day. If I want my brows to stay, like I want them to be, I'll use the Tom Ford brow gel and it works fine. And it gives me a little bit of color and fills it in a little bit and my brows stay. If I want something more pronounced, I put on the pencil with the Gucci pencil and then I do the Tom Ford over it. And if I want just the pencil and just clear gloss, I do have a couple of clear mascara, brow products that I use, like on a spoolie. So I just don't reach for this. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad product. I just don't use it. So for me, there's no point in having it. Mascaras that were fails this year. There's a couple that I don't use or reach for really. But none of them, I wouldn't say any of them were bad. They're just not, they're not ones I reach for. The Ilia mascara, not one I love, but it's not terrible. It's just I don't really like it. The Gucci, I don't reach for it. But again, it's not a fail. It's just, I think what these are really is that I have mascaras that I love so much that I think these just never get any rotation, but they're not bad. It's not like the brow wax, which I literally have not used since the time I demonstrated it for you, like at all. These I've used, I just don't like them as much as my favorites. So bronzers. I don't have a fail really in this category. The only thing I would say is that the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in One Fair, which is this one, for me, I actually don't reach for this very often. And what I would say to you is that I guess if I'm gonna bronze, like if I'm gonna use a bronzer, I want something that's a little, I don't know, bronzy. Like, I guess if I'm gonna bronze, I want bronzer. Like, my favorite, of course, here, the Gucci. What this really is it warms up your skin, or some of my skin, very lightly. So it's not really a bronzer. It's a little bit of a warming powder, You can't even really see it on my skin. I mean, I'm pretty pale, guys, and you can't see that. When I put this on as powder, it just like, it warms up my skin. It's not actually a bad thing. I really use this as more of like just an all over warmth. And I don't actually use it that often. And there's a huge amount in here. So I just don't use it that much. If you're exceedingly pale, like paler than me, then this is awesome because there aren't too many bronzers on the market for people who are really, really, really pale. But then the next step up to this shade is like too warm for me. I would have preferred a little bit of a cooler one. So I feel like it goes from fair to medium. There needed to be like a light, and there isn't. Now, to be fair, the light shade I think is in the Hollywood, the dual one, which I use all the time. And I actually love that bronzer that's in there. So I'm not saying anything bad about the bronzer. I'm just saying if I had to pick a fail, I guess the fair shade in this is the one because I just don't reach for it. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. The formula is good. But I just don't really use it because it's too pale for me, and which is saying a lot. And then the medium is a little too orangey tan for me. That's all I got, guys. Sorry. It's actually, I mean, I bought the Gucci bronzer and then I was like, I'm happy. This is going well. Okay, highlighters. Can't think of any highlighters that were a failure, guys. Sorry, I don't have anything there. I mean, I do sort of have one in a minute, but it's not really, it's not a highlighter by itself. Okay, blush. The Natasha Denona Mini Bloom. I included this in my blush video. I don't like this. I just don't. It's too sparkly. I don't like it. I have to find someone to give it to, actually. It's too bright, too pink. The other one is the Melt Cosmetics Raw Honey. I really don't, it just doesn't work for me. It's too sparkly, and that technically has like a highlighter in it. I mean, you could use the other side for blush, I guess, as well. But I think one's supposed to be a blush and one's supposed to be a highlighter. I did try it out on my channel. I don't like it. I don't like the formula. I don't think it's very good, to be honest. And I don't think it works well on more mature skin. Again, it could be a quality of the formula, not necessarily the color of the blush. But just, I mean, like the colors were pretty. When I put it on my face, it just accentuated everything bad. So I was like, yeah, no. Okay, what's next? Talking about blush, the Dior, and I'll put the number and everything down below. It's that yellow blush, which I used as a highlighter, but really it was just like yellow powder. I don't know what they were trying to do there. If they were trying to come up with something unique, like a yellow blush or a golden blush with some sparkle or something, which would, I think, look really interesting on some deeper skin tones, that's fabulous. But if that's what they were trying to do, I think they failed at it, because I don't think that's what that looked like. It just looked like, yellowy face powder, you know, like a setting powder. It didn't, to me, it didn't really work on any, I didn't see it that it looked great on anyone. Again, if you loved it, more power to you. Yeah, I don't understand what that was. I just don't. So, that one I did not like. Okay, so, all right, so moving on to lips. There weren't too many lip products that I would call a fail this year. I would say that I didn't try as many lip products because I wasn't wearing as many lip products. A lot of good releases, though, that I was impressed by. Propa Beauty was one. Lisa Eldridge was one. There was a bunch of Chanel ones that I've really loved this year. Yeah, there's been a couple. Some of the Dior ones are great. The Dior beige, however, sparkling beige, something beige. I think it was sparkling beige. I'm not sure. Again, I'll put it down below. Was so bad. I still think maybe that the entire batch was just like, the entire creation was just like they didn't mix it right, or I don't know what was wrong with that shade, because I've never, like, I haven't heard anyone say anything good about it anywhere. And for a company like Dior, that's just weird. I mean, because yeah, there are shades that I don't like, or even a formula, but it was supposedly the same formula as the other shades that were released, and the other shades were fine. So I do not know what that was about. It was very strange. But that shade, Sparkling Beige or Dazzling Beige or whatever beige for the holiday collection, was terrible. Like, truly terrible. I did not return it, but I did throw it away because it was truly terrible. The thing I would say is I can't really think of another one that was really, really bad. There were two releases that I found disappointing. The first is the Louboutins. Technically, they weren't released this year. They were ones from last year, but they have released new ones this year. I'm just disappointed in the Louboutins given how much they are. They are incredibly expensive. They're incredibly expensive because of the Louboutin name and the packaging. The packaging is way over the top. It's very beautiful. There's no doubt about any of that. But it's not like the formula is so much better. It's just like, okay, it's good. I mean, it's like a good lipstick, but it's like twice as much money as like an expensive lipstick. So I don't know why you would spend that. I don't know why you'd spend $100 on something that's good, but frankly, you can get a really good lipstick for like $30 or $40. So yeah, I mean, that was disappointing, I have to say. And then the other is the Hermes lipsticks. And what I would say about the Hermes lipsticks, guys, is that I like the Hermes lipsticks. They're all good. The matte formula in the Hermes lipsticks is really good. The formula is excellent. It's one of the few mattes that I will wear. I do not wear matte lipsticks, but I will wear the Hermes. They are good. But the colors, to be honest with you, I really don't like. I don't love any of them. There's not one shade in the Hermes line that I go to, that I absolutely love. There's not one, which is weird. Now, I know Hermes was doing, it was like, it was supposed to be Hermes Rouge or something, like based on different shades of red, like pinky reds, orange reds, you know, you get the picture, in the beginning. But and then there were pinks, but I just, maybe they just haven't, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, maybe, but none of the shades were like, yes, that's my shade. And I bought a lot of Hermes lipsticks, and I could not find a shade that really like was a winner for me. Again, the formula is really good, really, really good. Whether or not you want to spend the money because it's Hermes, obviously that's why you're spending the money. The packaging is gorgeous. But I'd rather buy like a La Bouche Rouge lipstick, which I think the packaging is as beautiful, if not more beautiful. They are replaceable. You can, you know, switch them out. And I love the shades there. The formula is just as good. So yeah, I would say the Hermes was kind of a fail for me, just because of my expectations. Again, the formula is excellent, but I don't reach for them. I just don't. So eyeshadows, there were a lot of great eye palettes this year, like a lot of really good eyeshadow palettes this year. The ones that I can say were disappointments, I recently did a video on the Kevyn Aucoin Blitz Kid. I really thought that was going to be really pretty, and it was disappointing. It just, I mean, it wasn't nearly as pigmented or as interesting as I thought it was going to be. So I was just kind of like, huh. I probably won't buy another Kevyn Aucoin eyeshadow palette unless somebody says it's exceptional first, because it was really a letdown. And I was kind of like, oh, well, that's too bad. So that one, the Makeup by Mario metallic palette, the metallics, I just didn't think it was that good. Again, it wasn't bad, but I was just kind of like, eh. I wasn't in any way wowed. You know, if you have Sydney Grace, or you have Pat McGrath, or you have Natasha Denona, or many of the indie brands that are out there, the metallics by Mario they were very underwhelming. The matte palette he did was actually very good. I actually do like the matte palette, and I have used it actually quite often as just like a basic matte when I'm looking for just a matte neutral shade and then to go with something else. It's a good matte. It really is. The Visearts, I think, are as good or better. I still think the Visearts are better, but there's not a huge difference. But the metallic palette, I was kind of like, oh, again, that's disappointing. I did have high expectations because of the KKW palette he had done years ago. So I was kind of expecting that. The Tom Ford palettes this year. So the first Frost I really liked, but it does look a lot like his palette from last year, Diver. They're very similar. Again, I really like the first Frost palette. It's really pretty on the eye, but it wasn't, you know, really different. The Visionaire and the Meteoric, they're okay, but they weren't great. They were just okay. I don't find myself reaching for them either, to be honest. He did the re-promote of Body Heat with the pink packaging, which I still haven't seen. I mean, I've seen pictures. I think it's coming out in January. I will buy that because I actually don't have Body Heat for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, I just haven't been overly impressed. There were I have them stacked over here, the Shade and Illuminate palettes. I really like the Shade and Illuminate palettes. I think those are beautiful. I did not put them on my favorites, and the reason I did not put them on my favorites is because the color stories I think are a little weird. If you go back to those videos and you watch, I don't think necessarily that the bronzer and highlighter necessarily go with the shades in the eye quads, vice versa. And I think sometimes the eye quads weren't curated particularly well, but I do really, really like the Shade and Illuminate palettes. You probably hear my dog barking downstairs. Dogs barking downstairs. But I do like those. So those were good. But I wasn't overwhelmed with Tom Ford this year. I gotta tell you guys, like I don't know what Tom Ford's doing this year, but pretty much everything I've used from them this year, I've just kind of been like, it's okay. It's not bad, but it's okay. I did like the first Frost and the lipstick, the Frost lipstick. That I really did enjoy. I really liked that. The foundation, the Shade and Illuminate foundation is an exception. But pretty much everything else, not my favorite year for Tom Ford, I gotta say. And in that vein, talking about, you know, like a brand, the Clos de Peau holiday collection was also not a favorite of mine. I actually am a big fan of Clos de Peau, but this year, again, not a great year. There's a lot of things going on in the world, guys, so I'm sure makeup is not the priority. But the Clos de Peau foundation that came out, I tried it, did not work for me. It wasn't a fail, it just didn't work for me. I know other people really did like it. Didn't work for me. The eyeshadow palette, I didn't really like. The lipsticks that came out for holiday, didn't really like. The highlighter, the illuminating powder is beautiful, but it's frankly, they do one every year. It's all, in my opinion, it's always beautiful. But the rest of the collection, I was really underwhelmed. And like I said, the foundation, I did not like. So not a great Clos de Peau year. And then the other one that I would mention that was really disappointing was the Carolina Herrera. And why I say that is I really liked the Carolina Herrera designs. I love the fact that they were interchangeable. I loved the fact that there were like different, you know, designs on the compacts and everything. And I don't find myself reaching for any of the products. Not the lipsticks, not the highlighter, none of it. Yeah, and I don't, none of it was bad. Like, it's not like I didn't review it and go, this is terrible. I just was kind of like, eh. Now, some of that could be, let's face it, it's been a weird year. And all of us are kind of like, about a lot of things, right? We're all just like, we're tired and we're, you know, a little zoned out and we've been on too many Zoom calls and we want to leave our houses and all those things. So I'm not saying that I'm giving up on it. I'm actually in January gonna pull out a lot of the products that I have not used in a long time, and I've actually started doing that in some of these videos that you've seen lately, pulling out older products, and I'm gonna be doing that through the entire spring. I am not going to stop buying new releases, do not worry. I will still do new releases, but I'm gonna be buying a lot less of it. I'm gonna have a very targeted list of what I'm gonna be buying in the spring, because I feel like I have a tremendous amount of makeup that I'm not using, and a lot of it I can't give to charity or give away because of obvious reasons. So I'm gonna be a lot more targeted about what I pick up. So I'll be asking all of you guys what you're interested in. Please let me know if you already have ideas about what you'd like me to, pick up for the spring. The Charlotte Tilbury new Hollywood eyeshadow quads, I'm not sure I'm gonna get all of them. I'm gonna do a will I buy it, don't worry, but like that kind of thing. Just because we can only use so much makeup, guys, and I've been very lucky this year not to have a lot of fails, but I also have a lot of products where, like I said, I'm just like, I don't hate them, but I don't love them, and they just sit in a drawer and eventually will have to be thrown out, and it's just such a waste. So, I think the ones that I called out today are ones that like I said, I either got rid of or I'm going to get rid of because I really don't like them. The Carolina Herrera, I'm not gonna get rid of them yet, but we're gonna try to pull them out in January and see if I, remember it correctly and I actually do like them enough to try to keep them in rotation. And I'm gonna be doing more of that, where I start just pulling stuff out from time to time, at least several times a month, to see if it's something that I really like and enjoy and want to continue to use, or if it's a fail, then just get rid of it. Just don't keep it, because I'm keeping stuff and it's taking up room, and I don't use it. I don't like it. So like this Bloom, I knew I didn't like this. I've known I didn't like this for like the longest time, but I haven't gotten rid of it. I don't know why. I mean, I'm sure somebody else would either like it and use it, or just get rid of it, because I'm not, again, it's just sitting in a drawer. It doesn't make any sense. It's kind of silly. So I think that's it. I'm just kind of going through my mind to see if there was something else that was really a fail, and I really can't think of anything. There wasn't a lot. I mean, guys, I've been on YouTube for 9 months, and I think it's pretty good considering I have like 200 odd videos. It's hard to believe. And in all that time, I've bought a lot of new stuff, and most of it has been pretty good. So I've been very lucky. Yeah, so I think that's the list, guys. I don't think it's that bad. I'd love to hear what your fails were for the year. And my favorites will be coming up tomorrow. So I figured I'd do fails first and then the favorites. And then we'll just have a couple more videos until the end of the Festivus and the end of the year. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye.